Hi, this is Miss Webb, and I'm going to do the recording of how to solve systems of equations. And I apologize for my Wi-Fi. I actually think I know how to fix it. So I had one of my doors closed. So also I can go and get another Wi-Fi booster. So at the beginning of all my presentations, I always start with what is our objective today, or what are we going to learn today, Mrs. Webb? You're going to see SWBAT. That stands for students will be able to solve systems of equations by substitution or elimination. So I'm going to go to my next slide. Okay, there's three methods to solving a system of equations. By graphing, we're going to skip that one today, but normally you would graph two lines and see where they intersect, and where they intersect would be the solution that's true for both lines. You can do substitution, which I'm going to go over. Substitution's kind of a pain too, but I'm going to go over it with you. And then this should be elimination. In fact, let me fix that. Elimination. And this is my fave. And this is what we'll probably be using the most in Algebra 2. So the first example, and I'm going to clear my annotations because I started it earlier with you guys, is to solve the following system by substitution. So when I want to do that, here are my two equations. If you have two variables, you better have two equations, okay? If I just had one equation and two variables, I wouldn't be able to solve it. So when I'm doing substitution, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a box. And what I did was I said, okay, let's draw this one. And y is equal to whatever's in that box, right? So I'm going to go substitute that value right here into y. So if I know y is equal to 3x plus 1, I draw the box. Now I'm going to go substitute it in. Instead of saying y equals 4x plus 2, I have 3x plus 1 equals 4x2. That's what was in my box. Okay, now if you've forgotten some of your algebra, once I get to this point and I have x's on both sides, to solve I have to get all the x's on one side. To do that, I'm going to subtract 3x from this side so that they go to 0. And whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. And I end up by bringing the 1 down, 1x plus 2. Now I need to get x all by itself. This is a two-step problem. I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. Okay, if I subtract 2 from both sides, that disappears to a 0, 1x, 1 minus 2 is negative 1. Now, for this one, I'm also dividing by 1, x is equal to negative 1. Now, if I want to know what y is, I have to substitute. Now I know what x is, and I'm going to substitute that in right there. I have y equals 3, and instead of putting x, I'm going to put negative 1 plus 1. I could put it in either equation to find out what y is. If I do this though, I got negative 3 plus 1. I got y equal to negative 2. There we go, I just solved it. Okay, here's another one. And I'll clear my annotations because I started this earlier with you guys. Okay, I have two equations. See how x is all by itself? So I'm going to box that 2y there, and whatever's in that box, I'm going to substitute in for x. So I come down here and I put 2 times, instead of putting x, I'm going to put 2 times what I know x to be, which is 2y. Minus 2y equals 14. Okay, that's 2 times 2y is 4y, minus 2y is equal to 14. I have 2y is equal to 14. I need to get y by itself. I divide by 2, I get y equal to 7. Now if I want to know what x is, I know that y is equal to 7, so I'm going to go substitute it in for y into that very first equation, and I get x is equal to 2 times 7, x is equal to 14. And you always want to double check your answers, but we'll just go on to the next one. And this one, oh no, what am I going to box? And this is where we got stuck in my class because that's when I dropped out of the Google Meet. No, I don't have a variable all by itself. And I need a variable all by itself so I can draw a box around what it is. So the only one, I have this x here, and to me that would be the easiest, is to take this equation, the second equation, and I'm going to subtract 4y from both sides. And I end up with x is equal to negative 4y minus 4. Okay, now I'm going to box that. I know that x is equal to negative 4y minus 4, and I'm going to go substitute that back in right there, because this is what x is. So if I put 3 times negative 4y minus 4, I'm rewriting that first equation, plus 5y equals 2. I'm going to distribute. 3 times negative 4y is negative 12y. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. See how I did that? And that's a negative 4. I just bring down the plus 5y, bring down the 2. Now I'm going to combine my like terms. I have a negative 12y and a 5y. Remember, the rule for combining like terms is it has to be the same variable, all y's or all x's, and they have to have the same power. This one, you could think of that as the power of 1. So if I have negative 12 plus 5, I get negative 7y minus 12 equals 2. Now I have a two-step problem. I'm going to add 12 to both sides. Okay, whatever you do to one side, you have to do it to the other side. Now, I need to get y by itself. I'm going to divide by negative 7, divide by negative 7, and see how those cancel. And y's by itself. 14 divided by negative 7 is a negative 2. Okay, now if I want to know what x is, then I have to pick, you can pick either equation, and I'm going to substitute in a negative 2 for y. So maybe I'll do it on the second one. X plus 4, I'm not going to put y there, I'm going to put negative 2 is equal to negative 4. X plus negative 8 is equal to negative 4. To get x by itself, I'm going to have to, let's see, that's minus 8. I'm going to have to do a plus 8 here. Plus 8. Because negative 8 plus positive 8 is a 0. And I'm left with x, and this I'm left with a positive 4. Okay? So that is substitution. But we usually use elimination in Algebra 2. And I'm going to show you elimination. The idea of an elimination is we're going to add or subtract the two equations to eliminate a variable so you can solve it. Because I can't solve it unless I just have one variable. So here is an example here. I have two equations, and if I draw a line here and I just add them together. 5x plus 3x is 8x. Notice how these 6y, negative 6y plus 6y, that becomes 0. If I add these together, I get a 16. Okay? Now I can solve for x. Divide by 8 on one side. Whatever I do to one side, do to the other side. And I have x is equal to 2. Now I can come in and substitute 2 in for x in either this equation or that one. Let's try the second one. 3 times 2 plus 6y equals 48. That's 6 plus 6y equals 48. I'm to a two-step problem, so I'm going to subtract first, or I always say clear the room. Negative 6. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. 42. Y is equal to 7. So my answer is x is equal to 2, y is equal to 7. Okay, here's another example. I have two equations here. If I just add them together, look, I just add them together, then when I add those together, that becomes a 0. That's a -6. Okay, now I'm going to divide by 3, divide by 3, -2. Okay, then once I got the -2, then I'm going to substitute that in. Let's do it on the bottom one. 7x, but y is now a -2. Minus 2 is equal to -16. Okay, so two-step problem. I'm going to add 2 to both sides. Those become 0. Divide by -7. X is equal to a +2. Negative divided by negative is positive. And that is my answer. So that's how you can add them together and you can get rid of them. Okay, in this one right here, I cannot, if I add the 3x and the 4x, I get a 7x. That won't work. If I add the 10y and the 40y, I get a 30y. When I add these together, it doesn't eliminate one of the variables. So I need to force it, okay? So whenever I have an equation, as long as I multiply everything, both sides, by the same thing, I'm not changing the equation, right? I always say whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. So if I'm looking at this equation right here, what if I multiplied the top one by 4? I'm going to then get 12x, 4 times 3x, 4 times -10y is equal to -100. Remember, I have to go all the way across. I'm going to multiply this side by 4 and this side by 4. Okay, and that's how I can get away with it, where I didn't change the equation because I multiplied both sides by 4. Okay, now I'm going to write that other one here. Now, when I add them together, look, these cancel. And this is a -80. Divide by 16, divide by 16. I should get x equal to 5. Yeah. Okay. I hope that helps. This is something we would have done in Algebra 1, but you might have forgotten it. Here's another one. I'm going to do this example with you. Okay, again, I come to this one. Okay, I can't, 2 and 8 do not equal 0. 10 and 6 do not equal 0. So I have to think of what to multiply by in order to get it so that I can eliminate one of the variables. Okay. Now, when I look at this, I'm like, oh, well, if I multiply 2 by a 4, and whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side, I would get an 8x. But is 8x plus 8x, that's still not 0, is it? So I actually want to multiply times a -4. -4, because then I get a -8x, and I can add them together. So if I distribute the -4 on this side, if I multiply the whole side by -4, I get -8x minus 40y is equal to, oh, I may have to get my calculator out. Let's see. 2, 3, 1, 1, 12. Let's make sure I'm right there. It's kind of late in the day. Let's see what 28 times 4 is. Let's make sure I'm right. Yep, I'm right. It's 112. Okay. So now when I come over here, I'm going to rewrite the second one. Just going to move it over. Now I can add the 2, and notice those go to 0. And I'm left with positive 34y is equal to -102. So now I divide by 34. Divide by 34. Y is equal to, let me get my calculator out, but I think I know the answer. 102 divided by 34, it's a 3. Okay, so I have just solved for y. It's a 3. Now, if I want to know what x is, I have to substitute that back in over here somewhere. Let's do it in the second equation. I can say 8x. Oop, I hate it when my pen does that. Let me see if I can get it to stop. Nope, won't stop. Okay. Let me come over here. Sometimes when I do that, it helps. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get my mouse out. I was using my tablet. Let's get my mouse out. Come over here and let's try it again. So I have 8x plus 6. There it goes again. I know it's how I hold my little guy. 6 times 3, let's just get rid of that, is equal to 10. All I did was take this y is equal to 3 and I substituted it into the second equation. And I get 8x plus 18 equals 10. Now it's a two-step. I should be happy. Subtract 18 from both sides. I end up with 8x is equal to negative 8. I divide both sides by 8. I get x is equal to negative 1. And there's my answer. Let's see if I have another one for you. I don't think I do. That's it. I'd like you to try to do the worksheet with the 6 problems on it. Okay? So give it a try, see how it goes, and we can ask questions when you come to class on Thursday. Okay? Thanks.